lot of people these days have lost their sense of true inner connection with themselves and are bombarded with so much noise from social media and the world in general. As a result, they get lost in all this noise and forget who they are. Their identity lost and following the crowd like sheep. Ever since I left the investment banking world, I was on a journey of self-discovery both from the personal and business side. I left that world to start up an education business. During that time, I removed myself from society for 5 years. I left my family, I cut most of my friends out, and I was living in a one-bedroom apartment on my own. I hardly went out to social gatherings, no weddings, no birthdays. It's been an eye-opening experience, one that I want to share with you today. So in this video, I want to share with you 4 truths I learned by removing myself from society and how you can apply some of these in your daily lives to give you a more enriched and fulfilling path. The first truth I learned is I became more self-aware. Prior to leaving the corporate world and living at home with my family, I was living under the views and opinions of what my family and friends wanted of me. I didn't have a mind of my own. Every time I questioned things or tried to think differently, I would be shut down by the noise I was exposed to. The noise in this case being my family, my friends, and society as a whole. With all that noise around me, it was difficult to be self-aware of my thoughts and what my soul was trying to say to me. The moment I moved into my own place, I had more freedom to be able to think, dissect, and reflect on my thoughts. To try and understand more about myself, why I think a certain way, find all the answers to the questions I had about life in general, to go in this explorative mode. Bear in mind, I was starting a business from zero and was still under pressure to make it work, still going through all the stress, rejections, challenges, and obstacles that comes with it. But being able to now cut the noise around me so I can reflect on my own thoughts gave me a level of peace that was fulfilling my soul. You have to experience this yourself to truly feel how liberating this is. I started to understand more about my thought patterns because I had more mental capacity to be able to process them. For example, when I get angry very quickly or lose my temper, I ask myself, why am I getting angry so quickly? Where is this anger coming from? What am I missing here that I need to learn? What can I do to implement so this does not happen again in the future? Being able to ask these level of questions and being truly honest with myself allowed me to grow very quickly as an individual because I was honest with myself and I was trying to rectify and solve the problems I was experiencing or the things that I was doing wrong. You see, I wanted to keep leveling up and to keep learning. This meant that I had to be completely honest with my actions and thoughts. If I know I did something wrong, I'm not going to ignore it and move on. I had to address it no matter how much it hurts, or else there will be no growth within me. And in fact, that problem will come back again in full circle. People tend to ignore their problems and brush it under the carpet thinking it will be gone. You're wrong. A problem left unsolved is a problem unsolved. Until you solve that problem and face it head on, you will never grow no matter what excuses and lies you say to yourself. That's a fact. The second truth I learned is being more comfortable with the truth. The longer I spent on understanding my thoughts and origin, the more I became self-aware. The more self-aware I became, the more comfortable I had to be in accepting the truth. Understanding is directly proportional to self-aware, which in turn is directly proportional to seeking the truth. For me to get comfortable with the truth meant that I had to be comfortable with my feelings getting hurt. My ego and pride had to be brought down. I realized quickly that I needed to get outside of my comfort zone a lot more for me to be able to break down the limiting beliefs that I had about myself. For example, I had to learn how getting many rejections from clients not wanting to use my services or the business not being able to take off the way I thought it was going to take off is all part of the learning process. Even though at that time it felt so personal, like I was not good enough. Instead, I had to pivot and look at what I was doing wrong, fix up, and go back at it again. All these setbacks I was facing was something that I had to deal with head on. The hurt felt like someone was piercing my heart, like that stomach feeling you get when you know you are not good enough and you are at the bottom of the pile. It's one of the worst feelings to go through. But instead of brushing it under the carpet, I faced the truth. I knew that for me to overcome this, I had to accept the truth so I can become better, wiser, and sharper. It's a constant learning cycle, and if you are able to see it in that light, the truth becomes easier to digest. Amongst all of this, I had to humble myself, knowing that I don't know everything, nor will I know everything. And that is okay, so long as I stay true to myself. You see, a lot of people run away from the truth. They don't want to face it because in their mind, they believe the pain is going to be too much. But what they fail to realize is the long-term pain of not facing the truth is far more detrimental to their lives than to experience the short-term pain of facing the truth. How can you expect to grow and become a better human being if you always run away from the truth and put it under the carpet? In no realms of dimensions would you improve, whether that be in business, relationship, or personal. It makes you a weak individual, someone who's not willing to stand in adversity and actually do something about it. This might hurt you, but I have to be blunt and honest. Remember, those who run away from the hurt would never propel themselves in life's endeavors. If you're feeling the hurt, this is good. Feel it, bear it, remember it, and use it. It's only going to help you push yourself beyond your comfort zone. The ones who seek the truth and want to replace their bad habits with actual values and principles that they hold themselves to will be the ones that get very far in life? Are you going to be the person that runs away from the truth or face it head on and learn from it? The decision is yours to make. The third truth I learned is connecting with God on a deeper level. During the time of starting and running the business, I was going through a lot of struggles and a lot of people bringing me down. This is never going to work. Go back and get a normal job. You are wasting your life. I felt more excluded than ever because I felt everything was going against me. Most people did not understand or can relate to what I was going through, and so I turned to God. I started to talk with him more and more, and it became very therapeutic. I would speak to him every day. I would say to him, look, I don't have faith in me, but I have faith in you. I know that you brought me to this position for a reason. You made me leave the corporate world. You made me go through these struggles, these challenges, these obstacles for a reason. And I know that you've already know where I'm going to end up. You've already got my life planned out. I do not have confidence in myself, but I know that you know where I need to be. So I'm going to follow your orders. I'm going to follow everything you tell me to do. And I would say to him, speak to me. Just tell me in any sort of way of communicating with me to tell me what I'm doing. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me I'm doing something wrong. And this could be from a friend, it could be from signs that I can see. I was talking to him every single day because I knew that talking with him every day, I was able to relieve the pressure that I was facing. I knew that talking with him every day, he was able to understand what I was going through, and I was able to, in some sort of ironic way, believe that this was going to work because he was watching over me. And I was telling him, just tell me the truth. Tell me if I should be doing this. Tell me if I'm doing this wrong. Tell me everything. And I would open my heart to him. I would be so vulnerable and say, if I'm doing anything wrong, you just point me in the right direction and I will follow you. I will follow everything you tell me to do to the T, because I am seeking the truth, I am seeking wisdom, and only you have that. I'm just a vessel, I'm just a body. What do I know? And this is how deep I went. There'll be points where I'll be crying. I'll be crying because I connected more and more with him. I was sharing my struggles and pain and rejections, and I felt that everyone around me wasn't able to understand what I was going through. So I had to just let it out to him. And by me letting it out to him, it just reduced the pressure. It gave me more courage to be able to keep walking forward, even though I was not able to see where I was going, even though there were so many doubts in my head where I did not even know what I was doing was going to work. But because I had my faith in him, because I let everything onto him, and I believed everything that he was doing and saying to me was the path that I needed to be on, I was tunnel vision on that path. My faith was in him, not in me, in him, because I knew that he already knows where I'm going to end up. Whether that's good or bad, I didn't care. I just followed him and followed him till the end. I would think about all these struggles and challenges I was going through, and I would say to him, you did not bring me all this way for nothing. You did not bring me all this way for me to go through these struggles, for me to get rejected so many times. There is a purpose behind this. There is a life lessons and wisdom that you want me to gain from this. This is not just for me to get hurt. The hurt is positive. And even though it was difficult to see at that time because I was so emotional, me being vulnerable to him, me opening myself up to him, allowed me to appreciate and accept the hurt for what it was. This hurt will make me a stronger, wiser, sharper person. And I had to go through these trials and tribulations for me to come out the other end. And I would not have been able to do this if I did not speak to God every day. The more and more I spoke with him, the more I felt connected with him. My life was a self-discovery journey, and I was always and still am seeking truth and wisdom on this journey. To some it might sound crazy, but I truly believe that without God's help and grace, I would not be where I am today. I realized very early on that I can't do this on my own, that I needed extra help. Help that is sometimes seen as miracles, things you can't explain. There are some things about life that defies logic, that you got to learn to walk by faith and not by sight, because there's only so much we can do and able to take as human beings. I have a lot of stories where God intervened in my life where there was no rational explanation behind it at all, and to some people would be seen as, how did this even happen? This was a miracle. I could probably share these stories in future videos if you are interested. Speaking with God gave me peace, knowing that he's watching over me. He sees the struggles, the challenges, the pain that I go through, where most people don't even see a glimpse of it. There is a saying, judge a man not by what he does, but by that he doesn't have to do. And to judge a true quality of a man is what he does when nobody's looking. In the end, even if others don't see what you're going through, don't worry. God sees everything that you're going through. The fourth lesson I learned is my values and principles became clearer. As I reduced the external noises from my life, I became more comfortable with my inner thoughts and in turn my values and principles. What I stand for became clearer and clearer. I was not swayed left or right, I was on the straight path of being tunnel vision and I stood by my principles. Even if I did not like it, even if this experience I was about to go through is going to hurt me a lot and I'm going to suffer, I still did it and I will still do it because I'm a disciplined individual and my word is my bond. I wasn't about to compromise on those, regardless of what my family or friends would say. When you become clear on your principles and what you stand for, it becomes very difficult for people to push you around. Not everyone will agree or will like the way I am, but again, this is where I go back to God. I ask and seek the truth from Him. He gives me the guidance and wisdom I will need to go on this path, even if it means walking it alone for a certain period of time. And sometimes that path of life means cutting the people you were once close to so you can let new people in. But for you to do that, you must have values and principles for yourself, so you have an identity of who you are and what you stand for. Not everyone's going to like it, but that is okay. You will attract the ones who do, the ones who are on your wavelength. And when you find those people are going to propel you to levels that you thought you were not even capable of achieving. Values and principles are not formed when you are in the noise. You need to take a step back and start listening to your thoughts and become more self-aware of who you are as an individual. Not your family, not your friends, not society, but you. Who are you? What do you want? What kind of person do you want to become? The level of your answers will be dependent on the level of questions you ask yourself. So start asking the right questions and see where your life will take you. Everything starts from zero. When are you going to start? Peace.